Happy Friday, and welcome here to another edition of Husker Online. Headlines, Sean Callahan, Steve Sipple, as we're 2 weeks away from Vegas.
The countdown you and Rob do is really interesting.
Oh, and you do it too. You do it too. Every day in Vegas, you're going to tell, this is awesome, Sean. Every morning, you're going to wake up.
You're right.
You're going to act like you've never seen a free hotel breakfast before. You're like, oh my God, the breakfast, like Sipple.
You got it down.
Well, all right. Well,
good,
welcome to Husker Online Headlines. We're brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Sartor Hamann Jewelry in Lincoln and Grand Island. We'll hear more about them. Thanks again to Sartor Hamann as our presenting sponsor. But big show on tap here. We've had bowl practice all week. And, we heard from Nebraska's defensive coordinator, interim defensive coordinator, Phil Snow. And that's where we start the show off. Headline number one, Phil Snow's objectives clear during bowl prep. And it's a completely different staff, and we'll get into that as well, just with the D-line and whatnot. But as Phil Snow talked about the defense and kind of what fell apart against Penn State and Iowa, he painted a pretty interesting picture.
He did. It was a fabulous appearance by Phil. He's really good at the podium. He's entertaining. He's direct. He doesn't go too far one way or the other. One way. He doesn't go too far to sugarcoat, but he also doesn't go too far to take them to task. He did. Now, I thought here's the way I wrote it. His objective during bowl preparation is pretty much a direct reflection of something that Williams Nwaneri said on Friday at the same press conference. And that is, I don't know, it might have been you. Somebody asked Nwaneri what went wrong with Nebraska's defense in the blowout losses to Penn State and Iowa. And he said, this is what he said directly. I could say late in the season, guys kind of get in a lull a little bit, get a little relaxed when things like that happen and everybody's probably not playing together. That's the results you get. Ooh. You just don't want to hear that as a Nebraska fan, that they went into a lull. But Matt Rule hasn't sugarcoated it, Sean. He said that the effort level wasn't where it needed to be in those two games.
Well, yeah, you go out and get blown out by your head coach's alma mater, a job that people all thought he was up for.
Right.
Then you come back home and get blown out by your rival.
Pushed around.
Not a very good November.
No, the defense got pushed around. I wouldn't say the offense did. Not against Iowa for sure. I mean, Emmett was thrashing Iowa, but the defense got really pushed around by Penn State and didn't fare particularly well against Iowa. And I mean, then what Phil Snow said on Friday was, we didn't have the same energy or play with the same zest as we had the previous 10 games. He said there are various reasons for that, but I'm not going to get into it. Did you hear the part also where he said we had guys that he said we just had guys that didn't know what they were doing assignment wise. Now I don't know. You're a little more. You played football. Is that common or what? Is that?
Well, I just think we've seen it as the game has gotten more kind of cat and mouse. There's a lot of looking back and forth, like between the coaches and the players.
Right.
And you can almost overdo that to the point where the guys don't know what they're doing. And we saw that under Scott Frost with Eric Chinander at his very final moments, where
Chinander tried to do a lot.
They were overcoaching to the point where it affected the call, because you could have the world's greatest call, but if you don't get it in time and no one knows what it is and you're not lined up right, it's a problem.
Right.
And I think we saw that with Nebraska. They just weren't lined up right. Guys were going in the wrong gaps. The edge was not being played very well. There just were a lot of issues. And Phil Snow said, my number one job is to essentially make sure we play as fast as we can at the level we should be playing at. And they clearly were not doing that, because the talent level is on. There's talent on this team. they just, you got to line them up and get them to play at the right speed, though.
Yeah, Snow said, we keep quoting him because we just got back from a press conference. He said, we have to play at a level we're capable of. Now, all of this makes sense in the context of what we've heard. I mean, the fact that they weren't playing at the energy level they needed, they weren't executing assignments. Now, what has Rule said? He has said he's not. What is it? Okay, it just occurred to me. He has said, I'm not as worried about scheme as I am about just getting everybody to play hard all the time. He wasn't worried about scheme. It speaks to what you just said. My picture of John Butler was always, he knows scheme. And I think there's guys like Butler. And I know I don't want to play babe in the woods all the time. I know there's guys like Butler that think they can win with scheme.
And it works in that. NFL is a lot like that.
Yeah.
Because the talent is so elite.
Yeah.
Scheme is so important.
Right. But at this level, you can overdo it. And I think it's very difficult just to say, we're just going to outsmart that team. Good luck. If your guys don't understand it, you only get a certain amount of time with guys at the college level. You don't get all that time that the pros do. So kind of gets back to probably wasn't the best hire. I don't mind saying that now. It's completely hindsight. He just got fired. I mean, I think Matt Rule would agree it wasn't a great hire, right?
Yeah, I think Matt Rule wanted to keep continuity. But yes. I think looking back at it now, if you would have said, hey, we're going to make a change outright, and John Butler still could have stayed on staff and still just been the secondary coach.
Right.
I mean, they could have done something, but I think and I don't know what promises were made back when he hired Butler. Like, hey, if Tony leaves, we're going to give you a fair shake.
Maybe. We don't know that.
And the bowl game looked good. I mean, you go back to the game against Boston College. The defense played out, but Ty Robinson and Ash Hutmacher were playing.
And Jamari Butler and MJ Sherman.
Did Jamari play? I don't think Jamari and
he didn't play.
Jamari didn't play in the bowl.
And you don't think MJ?
MJ
Sherman?
did.
Yeah.
MJ did. But Jamari Butler was in the portal. James Williams was in the portal.
Okay, and I gotta back up. It's sort of obnoxious for me to come on here and say it wasn't a good hire. In hindsight, I have the benefit of hindsight. I wasn't saying Butler was a bad hire when it happened. Now, I typically won't do that because I like to give guys a chance, but it didn't work. And all these comments, the only reason we're talking about it is because we just got done listening to Phil Snow's running the defense during the bowl practices because Butler got fired and because they hired a new guy who's not going to start, Rob Orich, who's not going to start until after the season.
Rob Orich is at everything.
He's here, but he's not running the defense.
But he's going to be in Vegas. He's going to be involved. I mean, he's not running the defense, but he's involved.
Yeah.
And you heard Phil Snow he said, hey, you see something, speak up and say, don't think you're stepping on my toes. We all work on the same team now.
Yeah. Phil's a great guy. I don't profess to know him, but from what I've seen, he's 69. He's 69. Now he did drop in that he's going to coach just one more year. He's been coaching for 48 years. He said he had a couple really good quotes. For instance, he said, well, he wasn't interested in being the full-time.
Yeah, he kept getting asked that too. And I think we made it pretty clear he doesn't want to be a full-time coordinator again, right. Especially in the college game.
He said that, he told his wife that. Now, he had 28 years of experience. He has 28 years of experience as a defensive coordinator. But he told his wife that's not happening. He said, I told her I have 28 days this month to act like I used to. Then I'll go back to being an old man. But he did say he'll coach. He's the associate head coach is his title. And he plans to coach for Nebraska next year, one more year. But he's running the show right now, and he's got a big job. He's got a big job to get these guys. I mean, really what he's trying to do is spark them, right? That they just like when Neri said they hit a lull. You saw it, by the way. We saw it. They didn't.
Well, they didn't get a sack for like a month. I mean, it was about like that. I mean, they even had like clean shots at sacks on like blitzes, and nothing was working.
So there was that element, and then the run defense really. I mean, you were wouldn't you say you're sort of aghast at Penn State, how easy Penn State was running the ball? Like you were just like, well, this is ridiculous.
Well, and even USC, once they started to run Maeva, it changed the whole game there. I mean, Nebraska had a good plan on USC. They held Mekhi Lemon to his worst game of the year. And
Matt would say that they had USC had 5 big plays that really crushed. And that's true. USC rushed for 202 is my recollection, 202 yards. That's not good. I mean, you allow a team to run for 200 yards
in a lower play game, like a Big Ten game of like 60 snaps. That's a lot of running.
Right.
Yards.
I'm afraid what's happened sometimes here, Sean, is that the standards have dropped so significantly that you even now have people, fans, media, coaches brushing off a 202-yard rushing performance on your home field and saying, it wasn't that bad. They just hit us with 5 plays. No, the fact is they ran for 200 yards on your home field, which used to be when Nebraska was really rolling. You wouldn't even dream of that.
No, and if Nebraska rushes for 200 yards, they win those games like 95% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the gold standard was like when Nebraska would rush for over 200. The record was like incredible.
Yeah.
So when you give up 200, you're more than likely not going to win.
Yeah. I just don't like to hear a lot of people, and probably there'll be people in the comments saying, "Oh, it wasn't that bad, Sip. USC, come on, man." No, they ran for 200 yards. You can slice it up any way you want, and if you do that, you're just sort of falling victim into a program's standards dropping. And if we do that, we're kind of culpable in a way. You can't do that.
2 years in a row, though, the Trojans kind of sliced Nebraska up with the run game.
Yeah, and you were right about Woody Marks. He's playing for the Texans.
I didn't bring it up. You did.
Anyway, Snow today, I just thought was excellent. I mean, I almost kind of thank him for being that transparent.
Brought some good life to bowl month.
Brought some good life and shined some important light on.
All right. And we will probably get a chance to hear from Rob Orich, maybe in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I
will hear from Orich and Eckler in
and
Vegas.
They officially announced Orich and Jeep Wade. Nebraska did. So no contract terms for either have been officially released. So we don't know what their pay is set at. But
you kind of know on Jeep Wade.
Yeah,
right?
2 years, 1.5.
2 years, 1.5.
Combined, so like 7.
Is Orich a $1 million coordinator now?
Everybody in the Big Ten is $1 million. I mean, I would say Orich is probably pushing at least $1.5 million.
It's pretty good for a 30-something.
39.
Right? Yeah. Oh, you got his age official?
I think he's 30. I read 39.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's take it to headline 2. Before we do that, again, we're brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Sartor Hamann, and make it your holiday source for gift giving. Sartor Hamann has their gift giving guide online on their website right now. Prices start at only $150. It could be easier. Just stop in Sartor Hamann or go to sartorhamann.com and check out the vast selection to make your buying easy and your Christmas bright. Holiday savings in all departments. If you don't know what to give, leave it to Sartor Hamann to make it easy and affordable. And when it comes to the famous Sartor Hamann box, she'll know you cared enough to give her the very best. For online orders, put in HuskerOnline for an additional 10% off of the non-sale merchandise when only the best will do. Sartor Hamann Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island, online at sartorhamann.com. All right. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Sartor Hamann. Let's take it into headline 2. Snope also painted a very interesting picture of the D-line coaching. And can we just say it now? Like the D-line situation this year, just with how things are being blown up, it didn't go well for Nebraska. I hate to use the word disaster, but Terry Braden was in Lincoln for 10 months. And Phil Simpson was coaching the edges. Well, he's coaching D tackles now under Matt Rule for the bowl game.
Okay, so there's a lot in this conversation. First of all, you start the conversation with the fact that the conversation has been going on for a year. I mean, right? What did we talk about all off season?
The lack of muscle up front, the lack of potential pass rushers.
Yeah, do they got enough up front?
And all of those things played out as we expected or we thought.
Right, you're right. So one, I mean, I hate to do this. We kind of relitigate some of this stuff. Did they not recognize it? Did they think they could just manage it?
Your leading sack man had 2.5, and
that's Winery.
And I would love to have the time to pull this up and look at every year's historical defensive data, because I think you'd be hard pressed in the modern history of Nebraska football to find a sack leader as low as 2.5 in history.
Sean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I know.
Your team leader for the season is only at 2.5, like that. And that puts in perspective, the struggles they had. They had struggles with mobile quarterbacks. They had struggles on the edge. They had struggles with a 4-man rush. They had struggles with the gaps and playing proper technique and assignments. And all of that has led to a completely clean slate for the bowl game, as Matt Rule is now coaching defensive tackles, and Phil Simpson, I don't know what his title would be, but the edge coach in the regular season is now
outside linebackers.
Outside linebackers coach is now working with Rule coaching D tackles.
I don't know what to make of that. Babe. I got you. Yeah, you're right. Williams Winery he had 2.5 sacks. He was the leader. I mean, you brought in Deshaun McCullough, as a sack person, and he had 2. I mean, that's not I hate to call out guys, but
you essentially paid like $2 million combined for Winery and McCullough. I'm just going to guess. I'm pretty accurate, I think, on that number. Mm-hmm. And you paid that much for 4 sacks.
4 sacks.
Or 4.5. Sorry.
4.5 sacks and 8 hurries. That's what you got.
For $2 million.
Yeah, 4.5 sacks and 8 hurries. I mean, we pointed it out, but Keona Davis had his first quarterback hurry against Iowa.
I mean, just to throw up random obscure names, like you got better production from Jack Gangwish than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just but like a walk-on player that you developed
from Wood River.
in the Big Ten Conference.
Jack Gangwish from Wood River, who became somewhat famous because he would deal with raccoons in interesting ways.
Well, and he beat that Iowa Outland winner off the edge for that key sack. I mean,
they just getting. I mean, we don't need to belabor the point. They just didn't get enough.
No,
production.
But you think about previous players that like Cameron Meredith. Cameron Meredith was more productive than Williams Winery and Deshaun McCullough, who are 2 pro prospects.
Yeah, a guy like So
Cameron Meredith never sniffed the NFL.
No, he would have been like Jack Ham on this defense. But they need more. Simpson has moved to coaching the interior. It's really, really notable that Rule is coaching the tackles right now. He hasn't really mentioned it. I don't.
No, his background is D-line. He coached D-line last bowl too.
Long background as a trench coach. Has in fact coached offensive line in the NFL with the Giants, and now he also long background coaching on the defensive side in the trenches. Hell of a defensive line coach is what Snow said. In fact, Snow said if he had his way, Rule would always be coaching the D-line. Now, I took that to mean he would be the head coach and the D-line coach, which you don't always see. Now, it made me think of Bill Callahan when Nebraska was struggling up front. Callahan would take over the O-line, right?
I got this, Denny.
Remember?
Yeah, that was me doing Bill Callahan talking to Dennis Wagner. I got this one, Denny. Sit this one out, Denny.
That's not what you want to hear from the head coach if you're the O-line coach.
I used to love, like, during the camps when Bill Callahan, he'd just kind of be wearing, like, dress clothes because he'd walk around. But there would always be a day or two where he'd suit up in coaching gear and he would take the best O-lineman prospects, like 3 or 4 of them, and just do like a legitimate like NFL draft workout with them.
Arguably the best O-line coach in the world.
Like Gabe Karimi, who ended up winning the Outland, was an unranked 3-star or like a low-ranked, unoffered guy. I watched Callahan work him out. I'm like, this guy is really good. He ended up going to Wisconsin, winning the Outland.
Jeez. Anyway, so did you mention Eckler and coaching the edges?
Yeah, and that's so Eckler will coach the edges with Ira Savage Lewis.
Ira Savage Lewis, who's a first-year
second year.
Oh, second. He came from Houston.
Yeah, you broke that story.
I was thinking it was last summer, but it's 2 summers ago.
2 summers ago.
Yeah, Ira Savage Lewis, who coached the position during the regular season too. So
two guys that are that I'm just playing detective here, babe.
Okay.
Two guys that coach these positions in the regular season now have Matt Rule and Mike Eckler coaching over them on those positions. Just saying.
Pointing out, yeah.
It's just, I mean, connecting the dots here a little bit, but Eckler coaching the edge is going to be something to watch, because I think you and I are on the same page here. It's going to be better. Like, he's going to get that group playing better, and it'll be interesting, because could he actually have a defensive staff spot with special teams coordinator next year?
Well, I would venture to say, knowing Mike and going by past conversations, he would love to do that. He coached OLBs at Tennessee at a very high level, by the way. So he has experience there. So, yeah.
Which is why I asked John Butler back in, was it the spring or fall camp, if Eckler can help you out a little bit on the defense, and like, it didn't go over very well.
Well, it was icy, right?
I don't know how to he said, I don't know how to answer that. And I mean, it was not meant to be a shot at anybody.
It wasn't a trick question.
No, it was like, you've got this guy that is an accomplished SEC, Big 12, Pac-12 position coach.
Yeah. Linebackers, outside linebackers. Yes.
And Big 10, I guess. He coached in all of those, but Georgia, USC, you go down the line. I mean, and like, why would it? He has more coaching experience than Terry Braden and Phil Simpson. So
what we're building to here is how much better or different will it look in the bowl game. Now, going back to Snow, he said they're not going to change up the scheme. He said, well, we won't do a lot of tweaking, just trying to get more effort, trying to get more fire, trying to get everybody to understand their assignments.
True or false, we will see more 4-man front of the bowl game than 3-man front.
Now, I would say true. And it's not like I always do this. We got to be careful with that conversation, because they played 4-man front a fair amount of time, Nebraska. It was everybody gets hung up in the 3-3-5 conversation. That's their base, I guess you'd say, but they play enough 4-man that. So what you're suggesting is probably play a little more 4-man against Utah, which runs the hell out of it, by the way. Quarterback run, running back run. You heard Phil Snow say today that their two quarterbacks combined for 1,200 rushing yards. Their two running backs combined for 1,500 rushing yards.
And they had, did he say 8 or 10 games over 200 yards? 10 of their 12 over 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's how you win 10 games, right? Right.
And they're unlike any Big Ten team they have faced because of the way the quarterback runs. Now, Swordsby ran it a little bit with Nebraska, but I mean, that I don't know if you can compare them to Utah.
When you look back at that game, the Cincinnati game, I thought Cincinnati sort of discovered that quarterback run a little too late. Remember, he just started cutting loose, and it's like, oh God, if he would have done that in the first half, that's trouble.
Well, and then you got to think they would have loved to have that call back to throw deep, because I mean, they were driving to win,
and he was running it.
The whole season would have been different. I mean, ended up being a 7-5 year, but if they lose that opener, who knows where the feeling would have been out of the gates.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of changes. Kind of a dizzying amount of changes. We didn't even mention that they brought in Roy Manning we don't know what he's going to coach, though.
He's got an edge coaching background, right. D-line coaching background, linebackers. I mean, Orich is a linebacker guy.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't know. How many times have you been asked what are they going to do with the D-line position?
Well, everyone wants to know about Elijah Robinson, and there is no real definitive update we can share.
Right. We know that it's not a done deal here, though, right? I mean, I just want to make that clear to people. We're not sitting on anything. You know what I'm saying? I think some people think we're just sitting on something. We're not.
No,
we don't know.
It's kind of a moving target. I don't know if it's just not something that's being shared like what he's thinking, because there's a lot of things involved.
And he's got some suitors.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. All right. Let's take it to headline 3. Before we do that, we're brought to you by Tushy. And if you're not familiar with Tushy, they make it so easy to own a bidet right in the comfort of your own home. And it's a quick, easy install. It's sleek. It's comfortable. They have lots of sizes. It's easy to install as well. So it's one of those things like, hey, I've always wanted to get one, but don't want to pay thousands of dollars to replace my toilet or, do all the things you need. Well, Hello Tushy has a way to do it with a quick, simple, easy install. And it's still a very, very high quality, top of the line product. They have different sizes and styles that are going to fit the bidet need that you want. And remember, a-hole is only a naughty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners will get 10% off their first bidet order when you use the code HuskerOnline at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com. The promo code again is HuskerOnline. Thanks again to Hello Tushy for sponsoring us here on Husker Online Headlines. Okay, headline 3, Nebraska basketball will face its toughest test yet at Illinois. Huskers, I believe, are an 8.5-point underdog. Robin Washett is en route as we speak to Champaign.
How about that? Rob's going to probably deal with some snow. Illinois is tough. I mean, Illinois, if you just look at their scores, they first of all, they've played a very demanding schedule. There's games that really get your attention. They beat Texas Tech. That's 11th ranked Texas Tech. They have a win against 13th ranked Tennessee, Sean. I mean, they've beaten 11th ranked Texas Tech, 13th ranked Tennessee. Now they have losses, close loss to Alabama, 4-point loss to Alabama, and a 13-point loss to number 5 UConn. So to review, they've played number 5 UConn, number 11 Alabama, number 11 Texas Tech, and number 13 Tennessee. That is a hell of a non-conference slate. I mean, and they, 2-2 in those games, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, Illinois has a Eastern European flavor. As
do they?
Most of their core players are Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a connection on the staff where they go out there and recruit, and it's gone well for them. And then, you're going to have a Turkish player from Nebraska and obviously Rink Mass. So a lot of Euros on the floor in the Big Ten this weekend.
Yeah, no, Rink's not Turkish. He's Finnish. I think he's Finland.
No, yeah, I said Burke. Sorry.
Burke.
Burke's Turkish.
Yeah, Burke's Turkish.
That's what I meant. And Rink is from.
Yeah, we have to get our.
I'm just going to call them Europeans. But yeah, a lot of Euros on the court. But, I think the game against Wisconsin really opened people's eyes. I think naturally outside of our bubble, but even in our bubble, there's just this skepticism about Nebraska basketball. Okay, well, they'll lose eventually.
Well, when you beat Creighton, or you beat Creighton and Wisconsin back-to-back, now Creighton's down. Wisconsin's not, I don't think they're down. We'll find out as time goes. I thought Wisconsin was pretty representative. They're good.
They're big.
They're big, and I thought they were pretty good. They just had no answers for Nebraska. Nebraska's offense shredded them. No answers. And Nebraska, but what Fred said after the game, Robin asked Fred, what are you most proud of? This is a 90-60 victory, so there's a lot to be proud of. And Fred said it's our defense. He's most proud of their defense. Because if they play offense, they're going to be a good offensive team. If they keep playing defense like they're doing, that's what will take them into a sure NCAA tournament bid. And against Creighton, the game you saw them both, they really discombobulated Creighton. Creighton out of the gate was probably, you'd say they got some decent looks and missed, but sometimes, Sean, you played basketball, you get decent looks and miss because you're just a little hurried. You're just a little hurried more than you want to be.
Well, I think the challenge now, can that closeout effort that we see, the way Nebraska, moves and gets out and defends the perimeter shots, can that continue every week? And that, there's going to be a random game at Rutgers or at Northwestern or something where you're not going to have the same juice as you did against Wisconsin
because you don't have that crowd, right?
And so can they do that? That was where things went wrong last year. Their defensive rotations weren't getting out, so that will be a challenge for Fred. But I love the way he built this team. We've talked about he doesn't have the money of Indiana and some of these blue bloods, but he has spent very wisely. I mean, he went out and got Price. And
Price
Sanford's been outstanding.
It's 1 and 1A for their best players.
Rink Mass, they kept him, developed him, sat on him as he developed. Burke has developed into a better player. And then you look at getting Jamarcus Lawrence re-signed back to Nebraska. And so they general manage their roster at a high level, but then they have the key role players. And I still consider Frager almost a role player, but like,
well, yeah, he's off the bench.
but
So yeah,
he's one of the best 6-man in the Big Ten right now.
That's pure role player. So Sam, in-state kid, role player. Frager, in-state kid, role player.
Cale Jacobson,
in-state player, role player. They're all very good, by the way. And Sam has just become, he's just made himself into a very good Big Ten player. He didn't start out that way. He's developed.
And we haven't seen this much in-state impact like this at a level we're watching in a long time at Nebraska.
Yeah, those guys, you've kind of clamored for that over the years, and those guys that we just talked about are critical. I mean, they're critical players, critical in-state players playing critical roles.
Yeah, I don't want to say maddened me, but just the fact that
just say it.
These kids in the state didn't recognize like what playing for the Huskers could do for them, the state, and their life. I mean, life after Sam Hoiberg is going to do whatever he wants after basketball. I mean, you play and succeed at a place like Nebraska as a local guy,
people love it.
I mean, we're still talking about like Bruce Chubbuck and Andy Markowski and local guys,
those kind of guys. Yeah.
Bo Reed wasn't local, but he's very successful locally.
Strickland.
Yeah. I mean, you think about,
guys, just player after player.
There was like a 20-year lull of in-state players though, where like Jake Muehlheisen and DeRusso, were some of the last good ones.
Right. So yeah, there was a lull. We don't need to name guys that left. People know who they are, but so just celebrate the guys you have now. Schrager. Did I say his name right? Yeah, Schrager he's on that sort of path. He's only a freshman, right?
Frager.
You
call him Schrager. I'm like, oh, who's Schrager?
Frager is on that path. My bad. He's on that path where he's going to be a memorable player here. I mean, he's beautiful to watch, by the way.
And they probably aren't they're going to eventually have to pay him, but right now they're probably paying him just a standard
paying him like a Schrager.
Like a solid wage, but
right.
But when you hear like what Creighton paid like Owen Freeman and some of these guys, it's just crazy. Like, so you paid this guy this much money to get blown off the dribble by Cale Jacobson and Sam Hoiberg?
Owen Freeman he took one shot against Nebraska from the field and missed it. That was his.
And he's making like $2 million. I mean, something crazy.
No, now here's the thing: when you get down to this, and you could do this with Nebraska football, we kind of just did.
We did, yeah.
If I'm the AD, I'm looking at that. Like, we spent what? Now, what did we spend on this center that just took one shot against Nebraska, didn't score? What? Tell me again what we spent on him. Is that good use of funds? ADs will get involved.
And what's the other guy?
Josh Dix.
And again, like
did nothing.
You got beat by guys at Nebraska's not even paying money.
Right. Now, we should make something clear that Nebraska. This is important, actually. Nebraska, we found out this week, just through our sources, that Nebraska's in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten and what they pay a roster now.
For rev share. The rev share, every Big Ten team plays, for the most part, between 2.75 and 3.5. And Nebraska's in the 3s. And, the most for a rev share number out there for basketball is about 4. But it's so confusing because of all the front loading and things that happened. Because there's many rosters that are far more than 4 million. But I think you got to give Fred credit.
God, yes.
He went to the store. Like, it's like you go to the grocery store with like a limited amount of money and you still come out with a really good cart full of groceries.
Right.
I mean,
and everybody in the house likes it.
You're like, how did you get all this for that?
Now at this point, some people are going to be saying, you guys are way ahead of yourselves. Let's see what
happens. Their net's 14th.
Right. They're off to a good start. Let's just say that.
All right. Well, should be exciting. They're off to a 10-0 start. They should get to no worse than 12-1, even if they lost to Illinois, which would be unheard of. And a win at Illinois would be, to me, one of the bigger wins they've had in a while. Just with the timing of it to be 2-0, but it's going to take their best game, obviously.
Sean, if they beat Illinois on the road, you're looking at top 15. I think top 15 in the nation.
Then you have Michigan State for your next conference game on January 2nd. All right, well, let's before we go to headline number 4, thanks for watching HuskerOnline Headlines. We're brought to you by Hollow Socks. If you're not familiar with Hollow Socks, These things are outstanding, and they not only keep your feet warm, but they're lightweight, they're comfortable, they're durable, they're made of alpaca. And they've sold over 2 million pairs in the United States. They're made in the USA. They're great for hunting, camping, hiking, whatever. I wore mine, Sipple, for the high school football championships. I was outside for all 3 games, and it was.
So how long were you outside?
I was outside from 8:30 in the morning to about 10:30 at night.
Never complained once.
14 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you complained to Lisa, but you never complained to me.
No, but yeah, we've got a great deal right now with Husker Online. Just go to their website for a limited time. Hollow Socks has a buy 2 get 2 free sale. Head to hollowsocks.com today to check it out. That's hollowsocks.com for up to 50% off your order. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. You can support our show and tell them Husker Online sent you, and be a great stocking stuffer. You always need stuff to put in the stocking for the holidays. Get some socks from Hollow, and you get a great deal with the buy 2 get 2 free sale. Thanks again to Hollow for sponsoring us here on Husker Online Headlines. Okay, headline 4, weighing in on the situation with Sherrone Moore at Michigan, as this is a story that continues to turn. Moore was just recently charged in the courthouse. Sipple, do you have the charges in front of you? Everything?
I do. He was charged Friday, Sherrone Moore, with 3rd-degree home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering, or entering without breaking after his detainment on Wednesday. So he was charged. The home invasion charge is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $2,000 fine. So he's got a felony charge. The stalking and breaking and entering charges are misdemeanors, punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a $1,000 fine, and up to 90 days in jail and a $500 fine, respectively. So I know that's hard to follow. The bottom line is the home invasion charge is a felony. In fact, interestingly, I just got a text from an attorney friend of mine who said this will ultimately get pled down to misdemeanor with some counseling, but this man will never coach again in the NCAA.
Yeah, reading Pete Damel's report here on ESPN, he barged his way into the woman's apartment. He went to a drawer in the kitchen, grabbed several butter knives and a pair of kitchen scissors before threatening to take his own life. Mm-hmm. The prosecutor also detailed that Moore had an intimate relationship with the woman that he worked with for a number of years before she broke up with him on Monday. The breakup prompted a flurry of calls and texts from Moore that the woman did not return. Moore is married to another woman, and they have 3 children. Moore's actions in the wake of former lover breaking up led to her to go to the officials at Michigan and detail the relationship. The school had previously investigated it through a tip about the situation, but sources have told ESPN, but they could not prove the relationship occurred. And, we've heard of stories of coaches and things over the years, but what makes this one different is it's an employee with an employee.
Well, what makes it different is he went to the home and tried to break in.
For him to get fired, though, people have affairs, consensual relationships, but the difference here is when it's an employee or a superior with a employee, that's the difference.
Yeah, fired with cause, cut and dried, no press conference. Now it gets a little complicated because Ward Manuel, the AD, there was an internal investigation, we'll say by the athletic department, that didn't turn up anything. Then the Board of Regents stepped in and demanded an external investigation, which turned up the relationship. So of course the AD now is under fire. I don't know that the AD will survive it. So it's all a mess there because they have an interim president. Looks like they'll have an interim AD, and they have no head coach.
Other than that,
yeah. So there's a lot. It's very challenging. You mentioned this earlier. On a human level, it's not. It's just sad. And the other thing to think about in all this, and you can do this because you've covered this stuff for so long and you've seen it happen. The unfortunate thing with Sherrone Moore doing all of this is it affects an ungodly number of people. Not, his family, obviously, families, the families involved, but then all of those staffers under him. Now they're pretty much out, right?
Yeah, because when a change happens, probably 90% or more of the people get left.
Yeah. So there's all these people, Christmas season, facing the prospects of losing your job. And these staffers aren't making millions.
Well, and they're all not on contracts. When you're an at-will employee, meaning you're not on a coach's contract, you might get 60 days, maybe 90.
That's stress.
And so you could be out altogether at that point. And, you don't get a whole year to figure it out. Right. I mean, you have like 2 months or a month. I mean, to just figure out your next move in an industry. And, for some of these people, they've worked their whole life to get to Michigan.
Right.
It's a dream.
And then the actions of one person undercut your entire dream. It's incredibly unfortunate. It is. It's hard. In fact, I would call this a hard story to follow. And I don't want to be over dramatic here, but it's a little bit hard to follow because it's so unpleasant to read.
If we're being honest, though, was he ever going to be the answer for Michigan? And you look at what his contract was, they were not really that committed to Sherrone Moore. They only would have, if they fired him traditionally, they would only have owed him $12.3 million. Mm-hmm. So like they did not have, put it in perspective, if Nebraska fired Matt Rule, they would owe him almost $72 million. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't much of a financial commitment to Moore. And he was just kind of a stopgap. Like the Harbaugh situation was such a mess.
Well, Harbaugh is, it was Harbaugh that wanted Sherrone Moore in that spot. Harbaugh's really, he won a national title there, but at what cost? You have the Connor Stallions mess. Jim Harbaugh is banned from coaching college football. That's, people have a hard time understanding that, but his show cause is such that he can't, if something happened to him with the Chargers, he couldn't go to his wife and say, well, let's go back to college, because his wife would say, no, Jim, you're banned from college coaching. Imagine your wife telling you, no, you're banned from college.
Or imagine winning a national championship. And I should know this, but is he kind of welcome back there or not?
It's a good question. It's a really good question, especially in the context of all the NCAA violations. And now this is not his fault. I'm not saying that, but this was one of his guys. So I don't know. That's a great question. It seems like, and I'll come under fire for saying this, I'm sure, but that national championship came with a heavy cost. It really did. I wouldn't want it to be that way.
You don't know how long it will take Michigan to recover from this, but you look at the Big Ten now with what happened at Penn State, and they're going to be rebuilding. Michigan's going to be rebuilding. If you're Tony Petitti, you do not like this right now as far as
because UCLA's rebuilding.
The television ratings, the value, and it's great that Indiana's good. It's great, but their television draw is not the same as Michigan and Penn State.
No way. It's not.
And, you need somebody else to get up. And look, Nebraska's not up there. We know that.
They're not.
USC and Iowa. There's teams that are close, but there's no one even close right now to Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. Those three teams are far ahead of the pack.
Yep, they're far. Yeah, and if you're Petitti, that concerns you a little bit. Why? Because the SEC is not just three teams in a big drop-off. It's not.
Because if you're trying to say, we want 4 auto bids, well, SEC's like, you only got 3 good teams right now.
And you've mentioned the TV ratings, how dominant the SEC was in TV ratings against the Big Ten.
Now, Ohio State themselves was involved in the 3 most watched games in college football this season. The Michigan game, the Indiana game,
Texas,
and then the Texas game. Those were uno, dos, tres.
That's good. Ohio State's a monster.
A behemoth.
Yeah.
And, on that private equity thing, their cut should have been almost double everybody else's. Monster. That's how valuable they are.
You know what, though? Ohio State, I agree. Monster. You know when the last time they won the Big Ten is? Think about that for a second. They haven't won the Big Ten for 5 years. 2020. That monster has not won a Big Ten title for 5 years.
But they've won a national title.
They did win a national.
I'd take door number 2, actually.
Yeah, but it's kind of odd, right?
But yeah, this Michigan, like, we don't know where they're going to go. I mean, you hear names like
DeBoer.
Why would DeBoer leave Bama?
Because he's 19-7, and he's and if the posse is not behind him, they're meeting right now and wondering, is this our guy? If they're not full blown running behind him, they're in.
But if you're Bama, you miss Kiffin. You missed out on getting Kiffin.
Yeah, DeBoer. Come on, Sean. They just got whipped by Georgia. You think Alabama fans are okay with that?
No.
He's lost 7 games in 2 years.
I don't know why, but I still think Brian Kelly makes the most sense.
Yeah, he's kind of damaged goods after that LSU fiasco, though. I like him too. I would go if I were the AD. My first call would be to DeBoer. My second call would probably be to Brian Kelly
because he's coached at Central Michigan. He's from Michigan.
Yeah, he coached at Notre Dame and did a great job at Notre Dame.
I mean, Notre Dame's as close to Michigan as it gets.
100. Yeah, Cincinnati did a marvelous job. So you're kind of in that neck of the woods, right?
But yeah, taking a job though in this era with all the things that you have to do on the fly with the roster, like you don't even have time to think. If you take that job, like,
and Michigan's a monster,
you're trying to save your players, save your recruits, and then go find new players. Yeah,
let's not do this thing either where I know I get really obnoxious about certain topics. I see like Jesse Minter mentioned the coordinator at the defensive coordinator for Harbaugh in LA. I see a 33-year-old offensive coordinator. I can't say his name. He's 33 though. I see these offensive coordinators mentioned 30-something. So you're going to put a 30-year-old guy in that Michigan mess? Really? You're going to put him on the list? No, do not do that. You hire a guy who's been a head coach at about 3 different spots. This is what I do.
Hell, I would hire the New Mexico guy, Jason Eck, over those guys.
Yeah.
Because he would at least run a physical style.
And he's been a head coach.
But
man, being a head coach at New Mexico and being a head coach at Michigan,
you're
worlds
right.
apart.
I still think Eck, if Wisconsin ever opens, will be their guy.
You like Eck a lot.
Yeah, he's good. He went 9-3 at New Mexico.
So I'm kind of surprised he's still at New Mexico.
I think he turned down. I mean, Oregon State, Washington State, all those jobs, I think, approached him, is my guess. And but even like Iowa State, but speaking
hold on, don't move on yet. I'm going to get that name. So the 2 names that I just completely don't understand are Jesse Minter, Chargers defensive coordinator, and the other one is Tommy Rees. That's the one I see on the list where I'm like, what?
And you're like, yeah, go beat Kurt Cignetti with that guy.
Right, go beat Ryan Day.
Kurt Cignetti, young coaching phenom.
Yeah, run Michigan's program as a 33-year-old. Can you imagine what every day is going to look like in that job early on? No, you got to get an old hand in that job.
All right, well, let's take it to headline 5. Before we do that, Husker on the Headlines brought to you by Gametime. And you're looking for tickets for maybe Nebraska's bowl game in Las Vegas, or Nebraska basketball, or Nebraska volleyball. They make the Final Four. Gametime has you covered for all of that, and they're going to help you sort out the prices. They could even include the fees in those prices, and they kind of highlight what tickets are good deals on here. What are the cheapest tickets? What are the best deals based on the section? And they even let you see what your seat is going to look like where you purchase it at. So lots of great ways to get tickets. Here's the Michigan State Nebraska basketball game, by the way. Look at those prices. You're looking at over $200 minimum to sit lower bowl. I'm looking at my section right now, 102, and it's like $300, $400.
Man.
So the ticket market has risen quickly for Nebraska basketball, especially that lower bowl. I mean, a lot of people want to go to PBA, but you don't want to sit up high. You want to get that lower bowl seat.
Those high seats don't look too bad to me.
They're not bad, but you don't feel part of it. You feel like you're in the action in the lower bowl. But yeah, you want to go and look on it. Now, these Michigan State tickets, again, are wild, but Gametime will help you sort that out, what the best price is going to be to get to Nebraska basketball, to get to Nebraska volleyball, whatever the sport is. We've got a code, by the way. Download the Gametime app, use the promo code ON3, and we'll give you $20 off your purchase with Gametime. Thanks again to Gametime for sponsoring us here on Husker Online Headlines. Okay, take you to headline 5 odds and ends. Volleyball, speaking of volleyball, they'll play Kansas in kind of a unique deal on Friday night, late game. That's who the Huskers played in their spring match. They swept them all 4 games. They played a 4-game deal with them and won all 4. I don't know about you, but I would be surprised if Kansas won a game up here.
I'll be very surprised.
I think Nebraska will sweep Kansas.
So sweep Kansas, then they will play either Louisville or Texas A&M on Sunday, and that will be on ABC or ESPN, right? I mean, a very beautiful window for Nebraska volleyball, for the sport of volleyball, women's volleyball. So that's that. And, Nebraska will be heavy. It'll
be Sunday on ABC.
Oh, is it for sure ABC?
Yeah, there's an ABC window.
Okay.
And Nebraska, the brackets were kind of slotted because they want Nebraska on ABC.
Okay. So I had read it'll either be ESPN or ABC.
Right. I mean, Nebraska basketball gets like the Jim Nantz CBS Duke bump.
There must be another big game on ESPN. ESPN must be televising.
Well, there'll be 2 matches.
Yeah.
One's going to be on ESPN.
Okay.
One will be on ABC.
I'm out of my league at this point.
Yeah, but
they
want the team that's going to probably draw the best rating, which is Nebraska, to be in the ABC window. So, that's a big one for Danny Busboom. I mean, they've made this look so easy, though.
They have, and we asked Abby the other day if Nebraska, what's the closest thing Nebraska has to a weakness, and she said serving. And serving, it can be a hit or miss endeavor. What I learned when I was covering the sport in the 90s was that aggressive serving teams can be error prone. There's a sort of price you pay for being very aggressive. But I don't know. I haven't watched enough to know what they're like, Nebraska.
I would imagine as they get deeper, though, teams are going to serve at Nebraska much more aggressively because that's how like when they got beat by Texas a couple years ago.
Easier said than done, my friend. Easier said than done. You can say you're going to serve aggressive, but let's see if you can do it. It's hard. Right. You watch volleyball. That's a hard
big
skill.
Games at the Bob Devaney Sports Center this weekend. Odds and ends. The Heisman.
Yeah, this weekend.
Fernando Mendoza.
Or Diego Pavia.
Jeremiah Love, Diego Pavia, Julian Sayin are the 4 finalists. I think Mendoza is going to win a very close race, if I had to guess.
Over Pavia. Yeah, that's 1-2, and then there's a drop off.
How much will they show Diego Pavia's mom and family on
Why
TV?
do you ask me that?
Because
question?
she's on. Is she
a thing? Is
yes,
a thing. Yeah, I don't know. Mendoza probably. I'm gonna guess Mendoza wins. I like Julian Sayin. He had a great freshman year for Ohio State. I don't know why he's there. He's not the best player on Ohio State's roster. He's probably, I'd say, 4th or 5th.
Yeah, he was just given maybe the nicest car to drive.
Yes.
And he did a solid drive, but you're right. I mean, after seeing Mendoza versus Sayin, Mendoza's better. Yeah.
Boy, Mendoza against Ohio State was just, I couldn't believe it. I can't believe some of the throws he made against Ohio State. That put me over. And then, of course, what he did, where we watched the game against Penn State in that pastrami shop in Pasadena. That was memorable. Some of the throws he made on that final drive against Penn State were memorable. 2 of them. The throw to the sideline, and I believe that was a tight end. Remember that throw? Mm-hmm. And then the throw to Cooper in the back of the end zone, which I keep saying, I'll say it again. It was the throw of the year, the catch of the year, and the game of the year. Give him the Heisman. They came out with the overall top 10, so people that finished 5th through 10 were announced. Emmett Johnson not in the top 10. Right. Which
not surprised.
Kind of. Couldn't have made it into like that 8 to 10 range.
Yeah. Again, I wonder if anyone even put him on their ballot at 3.
Do you have the top 10 in front of you by any chance?
I can look it up really fast.
We have time. This is a podcast.
Keep talking.
We're under no major time constraints. I'd like to know that top 10. I'd like to know each of the players in the top 10. I really would. To see why Emmett didn't make it. I am a little surprised he wouldn't be in the top 10.
Okay, your top 10 finalists were released.
Okay.
Let's see. Texas Tech's
The linebacker.
Rodriguez was 5th. Aiden
5th. Okay.
Wait, hold on here. It's the highest among defensive players since Michigan State's Aiden Hutchinson was 2nd. Let's see. God, they just write. I don't know why they don't. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's see.
You're fine.
Yeah, Jacob Rodriguez was 5th.
Jacob Rodriguez.
Your guy, Jeremiah Smith, was 6th.
God.
Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton, 7th.
Okay.
This one kind of surprised me a little bit. 8th place, Mississippi senior quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. And then Ohio State junior safety Caleb Downs was 9th. And then Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King, 10th.
Okay, I'm just going to say it. I am surprised that Emmett's not in that top 10. Not, frankly, I am. I mean, I could put him. You could build a case that should be ahead of Trinidad Chambliss. You could build a case he should be ahead of Haynes King.
What this list of group of guys is, it's how many of these guys made ballots is like the 3rd spot. I think majority of the people are going to have their 1 and 2s pretty similar. And then you can kind of get creative with your 3rd because you only get 3 names on a ballot. It would make it more interesting if you could do 5 people, but they only let you do 3 on the Heisman.
Yeah. Huh. That's very illuminating, Sean. Thank you.
All right. Keeping odds and ends flowing away here. SEC came out with their schedules for 2026. They moved to 9 games, and all their teams will play 1 Power 4 opponent. So every SEC team will play 10 Power 4 games. And there's still, a lot of the traditional rival games are going to exist, like Louisville, Kentucky, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Florida. I mean, those are all like, those games will be their 1 Power 4 opponent.
Nebraska will play 9 conference games, will not play a Power 4 opponent.
Correct.
Now, how would you feel if you're an SEC head coach and you saw that?
Yeah, Nebraska dropped the Tennessee series.
Right. I mean, is that equitable? You got to ask that.
Well, Nebraska, are they trying to get to the playoff or trying to stack wins?
I would hope the former. Right. That they're trying to get to the playoff. It's year 4 of the head coach. Not that look, I believe you can emphasize that point too much, but because look what's happened, by the way. What do we talk about to start the show? The staff's changed dramatically.
Well, you look at Nebraska's schedule this year, if they would have went 10-2 or 11-1, making the playoffs wouldn't have been a guarantee.
11-1.
Well, who would have been their ranked quality wins?
You have to give them 11-1.
I don't know. I mean, you'd put them over Miami. You'd put them over Notre Dame. You'd put them over Alabama. You'd put them over BYU. Do you put them over those teams? Wins over Iowa, USC.
Those are all 2-loss teams.
Michigan. I mean, it would have been interesting because Nebraska did not have like what would be considered like their best wins would have been USC and Iowa.
I guess what I would tell you is I just don't know if you go 11-1 as a Big Ten team, I don't think you can get left out.
But they didn't play one of the 3 playoff teams.
Yeah, I listen. I'm not saying I'm right.
But here's their schedule for next year. We have not learned the dates.
Let me see this.
But these are the home games: Indiana, Maryland, Ohio State, Washington, all at home, and then Illinois, Iowa, Michigan State, Oregon, Rutgers on the road.
That is about as hard a schedule as you'll see.
Yeah,
it is.
They're all hard.
No, not this. Compare this schedule to this year's schedule. Come on, this year's schedule. This year's schedule wasn't hard.
So you go from not playing 1 playoff team this year to playing all 3 next year.
I think you got these road trips to Rutgers and Oregon and even Michigan State.
Illinois, and you might have a Friday night home game in there too.
I mean, that's nice. No, that schedule is.
And you only get 1 bye. So I think we'll learn the schedule for Nebraska soon, like maybe a week. They probably wanted.
I think before Christmas.
They wanted to probably see what the SEC was going to do, so then they can line their games up accordingly.
I can tell our listeners, you will know this before the end of the year. I know
You can
that.
plan out your trips.
Yeah, I know that you will know. I can tell you from inside information. That sounds haughty. My apologies.
You're so special.
So special. Sean, by the end of the year, next week is what we're talking about.
And then finally,
You're so special.
did you see Jimmy Rogers, the new Iowa State coach?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question about this. Go ahead, play it.
Well, I can't play it on the air.
Oh, you can't?
No, but he was on the court at the Iowa State game. He just said,
what did he say?
let's beat the effing Hawkeyes. Or
He dropped an F-bomb. He didn't say effing.
he said the F word.
Okay, now my question.
When speaking about Iowa.
Listen to the old guys here. Now, people will react to this. I'm calling him in as the AD. And say, no, let's not do that. I am. What would you say?
Yeah. Look, you know me. I'm not like in private with people I know, I might drop a cuss word, but
I cuss. I'm not saying I don't,
but
I
would
wouldn't
never,
have that said.
not in a public forum.
No, I'm bad. I'm
I'm not going to go up there like I'm Bill Maher or something.
Right. That's not the setting. I'm just saying, if I was the AD, I'd say, hey, let's not do that.
Yeah, it's but he didn't like Iowa.
Obviously.
This Jimmy Rogers hire will be interesting. I mean, I met him once.
Jimmy Rogers.
And he was an assistant coach at South Dakota State. And, his career ascended so quickly from being a longtime assistant at South Dakota State to becoming the head coach. Then he went out to Washington State for 1 year. Now he's Iowa State's head coach.
How about that?
But that staff under John Stiglmeyer had Jimmy Rogers, Dan Jackson, who's now the current head coach of South Dakota State, and Jason Eck, who's at New Mexico.
My God. When was this?
Not that like 5-6 years. I mean, I don't know how many years ago Dan left, but they were all there together on the same staff.
I went up there once when Nebraska played them to, back in the day at the newspaper, I drove up there to preview that game that Nebraska was going to play us. So I covered their spring game. Stiglmeyer was the head coach. He was great to me.
Well before the days of having to do a podcast on everything and writing 3 takes on everything.
Right. So I drove up there, and at that point, they had just built this nice facility, but the parking lot was still gravel. I drove in on a gravel parking lot. And I remembered it because I was driving a pretty new truck at the time. I was like, damn, it's getting all messing up my truck. But anyway, Stiglmeyer was the head coach, and he was incredible to me on that. He gave me a full tour. It was amazing.
We interviewed Stiglmeyer for those things back then, and he just said, all right, don't make me sound like I'm saying something I shouldn't say. Like he didn't
He's
like,
a great dude.
He didn't want us to like clip something where it made it sound like he was talking, but they almost beat Nebraska.
They were pretty good.
They were pretty good.
They had a good line. They had a good center. I remember the center was
in the remember the little white running back?
Yeah, he's good. They were good. They were good. They did not have their new stadium then. And I went up in the press box and it was leaking. Like it was cold spring day, press box leaking. And I was just like, I'm not sitting up here. I just went down on the sideline. But anyway, yeah, that was back in the day. I don't know what year that was. You could probably tell me when Nebraska played.
Well, in 2012.
It was about around then, yeah.
Not 2012. God,
Pelini played them.
I want to say like 2010 or 2011, there was a game against them.
Yeah, it was around that time. Yeah.
And it was hairy. I mean, Nebraska got a kind of a phantom penalty that like took away a huge play
return, right?
Yeah.
I think it was an interception return.
Then
it was a 7-point game, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was getting pretty hairy. And remember, Carl's defense was bend, don't break. And they were running it between the 20s.
This little white running back.
Yeah, the South Dakota State running back was chewing up Nebraska. Then the next week, the big thing was, what was going on, Carl? Like, how are they running the ball on? And he said, well, I mean, they did between the 20s, but they weren't successful once they got into the 20s, and people didn't really buy it. Like, oh, okay, that's your spin.
All right. Well,
God dang, how do we do that, Sean? Go back to those times.
Different times.
What time is it?
It's 2:26.
Did we make it an hour?
Yeah, we were well over an hour. But big weekend volleyball, basketball. Robin will be out in Illinois. I'm going to be out in Council Bluffs this weekend for your.
It's a great place to go for you.
Big swim meet.
Yeah, big swim meet. I'm going to write my Sunday column tomorrow and then watch. I'm going to watch the basketball game. And then what's at night? I think Boise State, Washington.
Yeah, the LA Bowl, which by the way is going away. This is the last year of the LA Bowl.
Oh, that'll be missed sorely. Hey, the LA doesn't even know it's happening.
Basically,
you could probably walk 2 blocks from SoFi and people wouldn't even know it's happening.
The December 13th ABC Needs Programming Bowl. That's all.
Not what that is.
Well, they need a football game on a Saturday in December, and that.
Am I right? Is that a night game?
Yeah, LA Bowl's the first. It's the earliest of like the somewhat bigger bowls or respectable bowls. Mm-hmm. Washington plays Boise.
Yep. And Jed Fish is being mentioned prominently for the Michigan job.
Chenander coaches for Boise.
Yep.
All right. Let's land the helicopter here and take it home. Okay. For Steve Sipple, I'm Sean Callahan. Thanks for joining us on Husker Online Headlines.